Hello YouTube, this is Robert Ness816 and this is going to be another suspension tuning video, this time featuring the Traxxas Slash two-wheel drive. Alright, so the Slash in general, as far as the two-wheel drive version, as the eye-hand coordination's failing me with this camera, not working. Anyway, the two-wheel drive Slash in general, at least the high CG version, has out of the box terrible handling on pavement. On dirt, that's something totally different. It actually handles really well on dirt. On slippery surfaces, it handles really well, and the soft suspension does actually complement it to a point. But if you've ever driven your Slash on pavement, you'll find that it does not turn so good, and it actually flips over quite easily. That is due to the fact that the original front springs are extremely soft on the Slash, and at the slightest turn you will notice that your front suspension actually bottoms out like that and turns, and you could be going fairly slow and it'll still do that. So the other issue with the front springs being so soft is that when you make a tight turn, as my stomach growls, when you make a tight turn and the front end dips down the way it does, it actually has a tendency to lift up the inside back wheel, basically killing any chance of accelerating out of the hole, so to speak, with any type of authority. You'll basically end up spinning one wheel when you take off. So yeah, the original standard suspension setup that comes with this particular truck is not so good for driving on a high grip surface. This is really set up for driving on loose terrain, so you get that kind of scale short course truck feel, which is really what Traxxas was going for. So a lot of people like buying the low CG kit for these, which is actually really cheap and easy to do, but for people like me, I prefer the high CG setup because I think the body roll and all the other characteristics that make the Slash kind of handle like a short course truck, or at least for me it's appealing because, you know, it just kind of adds to the whole fun factor with it, you know, looking at the suspension work and whatever. So as far as what I've done to improve the two-wheel drive Slash high CG is put RPM skid plates on it. I did not go with the RPM front bulkhead because the screws, for whatever reason, with the RPM front bulkheads, they never stay tight. They always back out for whatever reason. So I actually took the front bulkhead out and I just got rid of them because I was just getting tired of tightening up the screws all the time. The stock Traxxas plastic is much stiffer, much sturdier. I can't say it's stronger, it's just a harder, more reinforced material. The main reason why RPM's plastic is more durable is because of how flexible it is, so I have a feeling that's why the screws were coming out. But in comparison to the stock Traxxas skid plates, these are superior in just about every way. The standard Traxxas skid plates just have a cross pattern here, which kind of stinks though. It gets caught on everything. If you do a lot of off-road driving, it's actually going to get a shitload of stuff. It's going to get stuck in the back here, and you're always going to be finding yourself pulling out, you know, twigs or whatever out of the back of it. So yeah, these skid plates are a must-have for your high CG Slash. And I really do kind of wish that Traxxas would come out with a skid plate like this in the future. So you can see what I've done here is I've actually dremeled away the plastic so I can keep using this back wheelie bar here. A lot of people cut this off, but that kind of weakens it. So there's enough material here on a skid plate where you can just kind of thin it out and keep using these kind of wheelie bar kits here. So I just leave it in, you know, whatever. What else? Oh, so the what was that? Oh, big piece of asphalt came out. The other thing that I don't like are the RPM Nerf bars. So the issue with those is they stick out too much and it makes your body look funny when they're on. It also rubs against the paint a lot more than these already do. So I don't like the RPM Nerf bars. Also went back to the stock ones for that. These are perfectly fine. If they break, they're cheap as shit to replace anyway. Stock bumpers are fine, whatever. There's nothing wrong with them. I'm not the one that will just go crazy on upgrading parts. Okay, so getting back to the spring. So the improvements I made to this are very simple. So you're going to, if you want to keep a sort of soft suspension setup that'll be much better for hard cornering, is going to be changing the front springs out to Traxxas 6863 springs, and these are pink springs. So in comparison to a 4x4 slash, these are going to be 20%, I think, softer than the standard 4x4 slash springs, or 10% softer, whatever it is. So as far as cornering goes, you're still going to get a similar amount of body roll. However, your cornering speeds and overall responsiveness are going to be through the roof compared to what the original spring rate was. So your cornering speed is going to be much higher. The twitchiness of the front end as far as responding to your input is going to be almost slot car-like compared to how it was originally. And also the likelihood of your rear wheel lifting up during heavy cornering is going to be much less thanks to these stiffer springs. I also decided to go with 25 weight shock oil in the front end here, mainly because the 30 weight oil that I had in here, it made the front end a little bit lazy as far as responding to changes in direction. So putting the 25 weight oil in the front here was a smart choice. So really just very simple improvements that the two-wheel drive slash needed. So as far as what I talked about with my previous video with the Bandit versus the Rustler, as far as cornering goes, how they both have really horrendous understeer, take note of where the battery placement is on the slash. It's basically dead center in the chassis. And, and that's really what Traxxas should strive for with the Bandit and Rustler, is to push that battery forwards, because right now the weight bias on the Bandit and Rustler is really too far back in my opinion, so it's really not necessary to have that much weight in the back of those cars. Also, as far as their tendency of wheeling, as far as the VXL versions go, you might think that's cool or whatever. Realistically, that's just like honestly the stupidest thing that you could aim for with any type of car that's overpowered, because it makes it borderline controllable. And most people, when they drive something today, they don't get the grasp or the concept of throttle control. It's either this or nothing. So that's like, you're not really putting any skill or effort into driving at that point. These are also the same people that put aluminum parts on everything and still wonder why they break everything. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. So the weight bias on the slash is superior to the Bandit and the Rustler. And like I've said before, Traxxas does need to address that, because it is basically a big issue that's kind of hurting the handling. And really just doing the chassis pan alone on the Bandit and Rustler, just coming out with a new chassis pan design and getting that weight further forward so that it's basically more even, that alone will really push the Bandit and Rustler to a new level of handling that was not possible before. Even past putting super soft rubber tires in the front or changing the spring rates, though, but mainly getting that weight further forward on the Bandit and Rustler will really help out those two platforms. Alright, so that's really it, guys. Not too much to talk about in this video, even though I did bullshit to the 9-minute mark, but let me know what you think, guys. And I'll be doing another video with this slash here when the weather gets better. Just kind of showing you how it handles, and then you can compare it to yours. So, thanks for watching, guys.